3 steps to outsmart manipulators and stay calm. Stoic defense. Most people don't realize this, but manipulators don't win because they're smarter. They win because they trigger your emotions before you even notice it. Once you react, they control the direction. The Stoics understood this deeply. They believed that no one can control a calm mind, and that emotional clarity is the ultimate form of power. In today's world, manipulation is everywhere, in relationships, at work, online, even in casual conversations. Sometimes it's subtle, sometimes it's obvious. But the effect is always the same: you feel pressure, confusion, or guilt, and suddenly, you're acting in someone else's interest, not yours. This video will show you how to reverse that dynamic. Using ancient Stoic principles, you will learn how to recognize manipulation instantly, how to stay calm under pressure, and how to respond with unshakable self-control. These aren't complicated philosophical ideas, they're practical defense tactics you can use today. By the end of this video, you will discover that manipulators only have power over what you don't control inside yourself. But once you master these 3 steps, nothing they do will shake you again. Stay with me until the end. Step 1. Recognize their tactics. The first step to outsmart any manipulator is simple but powerful: recognize their tactics before they reach your emotions. Manipulators don't attack your logic, they attack your perception. If they can distort how you see a situation, they can control how you react. The Stoics called these distortions false impressions. And the moment you learn to spot them, their power collapses. Manipulators often use guilt to weaken you. They'll say things like, "After everything I've done for you," or, "You always disappoint me." The goal is to make you feel responsible for their emotions. But here's the truth the Stoics lived by: you are responsible for your actions, not for someone else's emotional storms. When you recognize guilt tripping, you immediately regain clarity. Another common tactic is emotional baiting, pushing you until you explode so they can paint you as the problem. They provoke, then act innocent. The Stoic defense here is awareness. Instead of reacting, mentally step back and label what's happening. This person is trying to trigger me. The moment you name the tactic, the emotion loses its force. A more subtle form is gaslighting, where the manipulator tries to rewrite reality. "You're imagining things. That never happened. You're too sensitive." The Stoics would tell you, trust the evidence, not the noise. When someone tries to erase your experiences, pause and check the facts instead of their words. You can also recognize manipulation through sudden pressure, forcing quick decisions, making you feel rushed, or threatening consequences if you don't comply immediately. Remember, urgency is a tool of control. Stoic thinking teaches that no wise decision is made under pressure, so slowing down is an act of strength, not weakness. To train this ability, practice one simple Stoic exercise. Before reacting to anyone's words, ask yourself, what exactly is happening here? This short pause transforms emotion into awareness. You shift from being controlled, to observing. And an observer cannot be manipulated. When you learn to identify these tactics, guilt, baiting, gaslighting, pressure, you take away their advantage. You see clearly. And clarity is the beginning of freedom. Step 2. Control your inner reaction. Once you recognize manipulation, the second step is to protect your inner reaction. Manipulators don't need to control the situation, they only need to control you. And the fastest way to do that is to provoke an emotion strong enough to override your judgment. The Stoics understood this completely. They taught that external events don't hurt you, only your interpretation of them does. When someone tries to manipulate you, their real target is your emotional center. They want you angry, confused, guilty, or insecure. Why? Because a reactive mind is predictable, and a predictable mind is easy to influence. This is why Stoic calmness isn't weakness, it's strategy. The first technique is the Stoic pause. Before responding to anything that feels tense, unfair, or emotionally loaded, take a single slow breath. This interrupts the instinct to react. A 1-second pause can save you from a 20-minute argument or a lifetime of regret. Marcus Aurelius practiced this constantly, responding only after stepping back mentally. The second technique is neutral labeling. Instead of thinking, "They're attacking me," think, "A person is expressing words. I will examine them before reacting." This mental shift disconnects your identity from the situation. You become an observer instead of a participant in their emotional game. Another tool is the Stoic triage question. Is this under my control or not? Their tone. Not under your control. Their anger. Not under your control. Your response. Completely under your control. This single question destroys 80% of manipulation because you stop fighting battles that aren't yours. You can also use emotional detachment, not by suppressing feelings, but by refusing to let them lead. When you detach, you don't shut down, you simply don't let the other person set the emotional tone. Imagine a manipulator trying to guilt-trip you. "You never care about me. You always think about yourself." Instead of defending yourself or apologizing out of fear, you maintain inner stillness. You hear the words without internalizing them. That stillness breaks their strategy, because guilt only works on someone who accepts it. True Stoic power is silent. You don't need to argue, react, or prove anything. The calmer you remain, the more a manipulator reveals their intentions. They get louder, more aggressive, more irrational, because calmness exposes them. Control your inner reaction, and you remove their weapon. Step 3. Set boundaries with calm authority. Once you recognize manipulation and control your inner reaction, the final step is to set boundaries with calm authority. Manipulators thrive on emotional chaos, but they collapse when faced with someone who stays firm, clear, and unshaken. Stoic boundaries are not aggressive, they are simple statements of what you will or will not accept, delivered without anger or justification. A boundary is not a debate. It's not an explanation. It's a decision. When a manipulator pushes, you don't need to fight back, you simply stand still. The Stoics taught that your actions should align with your values, not with another person's pressure. So your boundary should reflect who you choose to be, not who they try to make you become. You can express a boundary in calm, direct language like, "I'm not comfortable with this direction. I won't continue this conversation if it becomes disrespectful. This doesn't work for me." Notice the tone, clear, firm, emotionless. Manipulators hate this because it gives them nothing to work with. If they escalate, you don't match their energy. You repeat your boundary once, maybe twice, then take distance. Stoic authority is quiet, your power comes from consistency, not volume. And when you remain consistent, most manipulators lose interest quickly because they realize their tactics can't penetrate your calm. The key is to act, not react. You choose the pace, the terms, and the emotional atmosphere. A manipulator can only control a chaotic environment. When you bring clarity and stillness, you reclaim the space. Setting boundaries is the moment you shift from defense to control. You stop being a target and become someone who cannot be moved. Conclusion plus call to action. You now know the 3 Stoic steps to outsmart manipulators. First, recognize their tactics before they reach your emotions. Second, control your inner reaction, because your calm mind is your greatest defense. And third, set boundaries with quiet authority, showing that your values guide your actions, not their pressure. Remember, manipulators only win when you react. But when you stay calm, clear, and grounded, their power disappears. A Stoic mind cannot be controlled. If this video helped you strengthen your inner defense, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And share it with someone who needs this message today. Your support helps the channel grow and spread Stoic wisdom to more people. Stay calm. Stay strong. Stay unshakable.